This story begins deep in the wild. A lion cub's desperate cry cuts through the Savannah air, echoing like a call for help no one can ignore. The sound is thin, almost broken, a ragged plea that carries across the open plains, where wind pushes waves through tall golden grass. In this unforgiving land, survival is never guaranteed. So before we dive in, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy these emotional stories. Comment below your favorite animal, the one you've always dreamed of seeing in the wild. The first light of dawn stains the horizon a muted pink, but the day's beauty is already shadowed by unease. You are part of a small team of rangers patrolling the edge of a protected reserve. The jeep hums steadily along a dirt path when the cry comes again, sharper now, urgent enough to cut through the steady rumble of the engine. Every instinct in you sharpens. You exchange quick looks with your fellow ranger, Mateo, his dark brows drawn in concern. No bird makes a sound like that. No wind plays such a mournful tune. The engine goes silent as you kill the ignition. For a moment, there's only the smell of dust and dry grass. Then it comes again. Faint but unmistakable, somewhere beyond a stand of thorny acacia. You've learned that such cries don't just mean hunger. They mean distress, fear, danger. A cub alone is a target for everything. Hyenas, jackals, even another lion if territory lines have been crossed. You shoulder your pack, making sure the tranquilizer kit is secured. Mateo loads a long pole with a hook at its end, used for freeing animals from snare wires. Behind you, Ranger Tessa double-checks the first aid case stocked with antibiotics, saline and wound care supplies. There's a flicker of excitement, not the joyful kind, but the adrenaline-filled rush of knowing something's wrong and you may be the only chance to fix it. As you step into the grass, the early sun catches on spiderwebs and seed heads. Each step crunches softly. The cub cries again, softer now, weakening. Your chest tightens. You know that sound. You've heard it before in animals caught in snares. Every second counts. The longer the trap cuts into flesh, the higher the chance of infection, shock, or death. Then you see them, faint paw prints, small and uneven. The spacing tells you the cub has been struggling, limping, maybe dragging a foot. You crouch to study them, fingers brushing the dry soil. There's blood, fresh. A thin crimson drop still glistens under the light. Mateo swears quietly under his breath. You push forward, heart hammering. Grass scratches at your arms and face, but you don't care. The landscape swallows you in waves of green gold, the sound of insects buzzing like static in the background. The cub cries once more, weaker now, then stops. The silence is worse than the sound. You hurry, breathing shallow, aware that predators listen for weakness just as you do. A flash of movement ahead, and then you freeze, a snare. Someone has set an illegal steel wire loop at the base of a thorn tree. Caught within it is a small lion cub, no more than a few months old, its paw twisted unnaturally, blood darkening the fur. Its eyes, wide, glassy, filled with terror, lock onto yours. The cub growls weakly, a sound more pitiful than threatening. The snare bites deep into its leg. The flesh around it is swollen and raw. You feel a spike of anger at the poachers who laid this trap. Snaring is silent, cruel, and meant for anything unlucky enough to step through. The cub is exhausted from struggling. Every tiny movement makes it wince. Behind you, Mateo whispers, we need to be fast. Mother might be close. Tessa nods, already unpacking the first aid kit. You know he's right. Lionesses are fiercely protective. If she's nearby, this could turn dangerous in seconds. But you can't walk away. Not now. You step closer slowly, hands raised to show calm. The cub flattens its ears, but doesn't have the strength to fight. You kneel, examining the wire. It's tight, too tight for bare hands. Mateo moves forward with the pole hook, slipping it toward the loop. The cub hisses softly, baring tiny teeth, but the sound is weak. Every nerve in your body tells you to hurry. The air feels charged, like before a storm. Somewhere you think you hear a rustle, not the wind. A deeper sound, something large. The Savannah holds its breath as you lean in, tools ready to cut the snare. But then, from somewhere beyond the brush, a low guttural growl rolls like thunder. The growl slides through the grass like a warning carried on the wind. Instinct makes you freeze. Your breath catches. Mateo's eyes dart to yours. Tessa silently slips a hand toward the tranquilizer rifle slung on her shoulder, though you all know it's a last resort. Somewhere just beyond sight, a lioness is close, closer than you dared hope or fear. You crouch lower, heart pounding. The cub, still snared, whimpers at the sound. The cry is softer now, hoarse, as if even pain has become too exhausting to voice. That single sound cuts through your chest. It's not just an animal anymore. It's a small, frightened child of the wild, alone and in danger. Mateo mouths the word, "Mother." You nod once. It's good she's alive. Bad if she thinks you're a threat. You've read this behavior. Lionesses often keep watch silently, waiting for the right moment to strike. But the cub's wound is bad. Infection could set in quickly if you hesitate. You glance at Tessa, and she gives a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. You'll work fast and hope the mother stays back. Step by step, you inch closer. Each move is deliberate, fluid, unthreatening. The cub's wide golden eyes follow you. It flinches as Mateo slides the pole hook under the wire, but doesn't fight. The leg is grotesquely swollen, where the steel bit into flesh. Every ranger's nightmare. One wrong movement could tear deeper. Hold still, little one, you whisper, though you know the cub can't understand. It's more for you than for it, a quiet plea to the universe to let this go right. Mateo twists the pole carefully. The snare resists, pulling tighter at first, and the cub cries out in sudden agony. Your stomach lurches. The sound is raw and high, echoing through the grass. Somewhere beyond, the growl answers, louder this time. Your spine prickles with cold. Tessa shifts position, eyes scanning the brush. She's whispering under her breath, maybe a prayer or maybe just nerves. The sun creeps higher, heat settling heavy over the land. Sweat beads down your neck. You think about the poachers who set this. Wire snares are one of the cruelest traps. Silent killers meant for antelope or smaller cats, but catching anything that wanders through. They don't care what dies. They don't see the families torn apart. They don't see this cub helpless and terrified. Finally, the snare loosens a fraction. Mateo exhales sharply. Almost, he murmurs. You steady the cub's leg gently, hand trembling just enough to feel it. The cub flinches but doesn't strike. Maybe some instinct tells it you're not here to hurt it. Then a shadow moves, big, fluid, unmistakable. Your pulse rockets. Through the brush, amber eyes flash. The lioness steps halfway into view, muscles taut, her gaze locked on you. She's magnificent and terrifying. Her face is a mask of rage and fear, ears back, tail twitching in agitation. You know she's deciding whether to charge. Stay calm, you hiss softly. Tessa raises the tranquilizer, but doesn't aim yet. Shooting too soon could spook her into attacking. Too late could mean she's on you before the dart works. You keep your body low and your movements deliberate. One wrong jerk and she'll be on you. Mateo, pale but focused, gives the hook another slow twist. The wire finally gives with a faint metallic snap. The cub yelps once, startled but free. But the moment the loop loosens, the cub tries to scramble, collapsing instantly on the injured leg. It squeals, pitiful and weak. The mother snarls and takes a step forward. Back, Mateo whispers sharply. You all ease backward, not turning your backs, keeping eyes on the lioness. Tessa lifts the dart gun slightly higher, just enough to show she can use it if needed. The cub tries again to stand and stumbles. Its tiny body shakes, paw dangling uselessly. It mules toward the mother. The lioness's face softens for just a heartbeat. Then her gaze snaps back to you, all fury again. This is the dangerous in-between moment. She wants her cub, but doesn't know if you've harmed it. You're trapped between protecting yourselves and not appearing threatening. Slow, you murmur to the team. You back up another step. Mateo drops the snare hook in the dirt, a gesture of surrender. The cub limps, pitiful and confused, still only a few feet from you. Then, without warning, the lioness lets out a thunderous roar, the kind that vibrates in your chest and shakes your bones. She strides forward 2 steps, massive shoulders rippling. Tessa's finger tightens on the tranquilizer trigger but doesn't fire. Your heart slams against your ribs. Every instinct screams to run, but you hold your ground, hands slightly raised. You know sudden movement could trigger her to strike. The cub tries to crawl toward her, dragging the mangled leg, but collapses with a soft cry. The mother hesitates. Her ears flick back. Another roar builds low in her throat, but this one sounds less like fury and more like warning. She's conflicted. The standoff stretches long and breathless. You can taste the dust, feel the heat, hear the cub panting. Then a sound shatters the moment, the distant whoop of hyenas carried on the wind. Your blood goes cold. They've heard the cries, and they're coming. The whoops echo closer, strange and hollow across the open plain. You know that sound too well, hyenas. Opportunistic, cunning, always listening for weakness. A snared cub is an easy kill, and if the mother has to fight them, she might not win alone. Matteo curses under his breath. Tessa adjusts her grip on the tranquilizer rifle. You scan the horizon and see movement. Mottled shadows slipping between the grass, low to the ground, stalking closer with eerie silence except for those shrill calls. There are at least 4 of them, maybe more. The lioness wheels around, ears twitching toward the threat. Her muscles go rigid, tail lashing. She's caught in an impossible position: protect her injured cub or defend against predators that could tear both of them apart. Your training kicks in. If the hyenas come too close, the cub doesn't stand a chance. Even the mother could be overwhelmed. And if the mother decides you're a threat in this chaos, things could get fatal fast. We need to move the cub, Matteo says quietly, eyes still on the approaching shadows. His voice is tight but steady. Tessa shakes her head. If we touch it now, she'll attack. She's on edge already. You swallow, heart hammering. Every second feels stolen. The cub lies trembling, exhausted, the swollen leg twitching with pain. Its eyes keep darting between you and its mother, then toward the sounds of the approaching hyenas. Another mournful call from the scavengers splits the air. They're closer, maybe 200 meters now, hidden but circling. We can't stay here, you whisper. If they smell blood, it's over. The lioness turns her head and roars at the oncoming threat, a deep-chested sound meant to warn them back. For a moment, the savannah goes still. But you know hyenas, they test, they probe. They'll wait just out of sight until they're sure they can rush in. You look at the tranquilizer gun in Tessa's hands. Wanda could drop the lioness long enough to grab the cub and treat the wound. But the risk of miscalculation is huge. Dots take minutes to fully work, and if she charges before going down, there's no stopping her. The cub tries to crawl toward its mother again, but only collapses, panting. You see fresh blood where the snare cut reopened. Time is slipping like sand. Matteo, you whisper, Flair. His eyes snap to yours. He understands instantly. In the truck is a red emergency flare. Hyenas fear fire. It might give space, but it might also panic the lioness. We don't have a choice, you say, your own voice trembling just slightly. We need time. Matteo hesitates only a second, then nods and bolts back toward the jeep, moving slow at first, then faster once he's clear. The lioness growls low but doesn't chase. Her focus is on the hidden predators. You stay crouched, murmuring softly to the cub without thinking. Meaningless comfort, but it calms you as much as it might calm the animal. Minutes stretch thin. Then a crack and hiss. Matteo ignites the flare. A column of red smoke and spark shoots upward, hissing angrily as he waves it wide. The effect is immediate. The hyenas stop their slow advance. You can hear their chatter grow nervous, high-pitched and uneven. Shadows retreat a little, but the lioness hates it. She spins toward the noise, tail thrashing, lips curling back to reveal long, gleaming teeth. She roars again, a furious sound that makes the air vibrate. Matteo freezes, keeping the flare low but alive. Tessa, ready, you hiss. She steadies the tranquilizer, breathing slow and controlled. One dart, clean shot and prey. The lioness paces, torn between fear of the flare and rage at the humans too close to her cub. You lock eyes with her, a moment of raw, wordless understanding. She doesn't want to lose her baby. You don't want to hurt her. But there's no trust here, only survival. The hyenas test the line again, chattering, circling. You can feel the shift. If they rush, the mother will have to fight with a limp cub at her feet. Matteo calls softly, we have to decide. Your gaze flicks to the cub. The wound is bleeding again, ugly and dark. The smell of blood will only grow stronger. Infection is no longer a future problem. It's already happening. If you can't get that wire out fully and clean it, the cub may die, even if the hyenas leave. You meet Tessa's eyes. She reads your thought instantly. You want me to dart her. I want to save them both, you whisper. Tessa exhales. If she charges, you nod. I know. For a heartbeat, all you hear is wind in the grass and the distant circling predators. Then the lioness turns. Her gaze sweeps from the flare to you, to her cub. She steps closer, slow and deliberate, ears half back but no longer fully aggressive. It's a chance. Maybe the only one. Tessa raises the rifle, breathes in deep, exhales. The dart flies. A soft thwick sound. The lioness jolts, snarls, a sound of rage and betrayal, but doesn't lunge. She wheels away, stalking a few paces before turning back to glare, teeth bared. The effect isn't instant. It never is. She paces, furious, eyes locked on you. Your entire body is ice. If she decides to charge before the sedative takes hold, there's nowhere to run fast enough. Then the hyenas call again, closer. The lioness roars at them, a last stand, but her steps wobble slightly. Her head dips just for a moment. Work fast, you whisper, now. You and Matteo drop to the cub, tools out, working against the cruel steel bite of the snare. Behind you, the sound of the lioness's breathing grows heavier, slower, but she's still standing, still watching. And you know, one wrong move could bring her crashing down upon you before the dart finishes its work. The lioness sways where she stands, eyes blazing even as the tranquilizer begins to drag her down. Each breath she takes is a low rumble, warning you that she's not gone yet, not safe yet. Her tail lashes violently, then slows for a beat, then lashes again. You know this stage. Half-conscious predators can be even more unpredictable than fully awake ones. You and Matteo kneel by the cub, your hands moving with desperate precision. The wire is finally slack, but it's embedded deep. Where the snare bit, the fur is gone, the flesh angry and raw. There's dried blood mixed with fresh, and a sickly, sweet smell that makes your stomach tighten, the smell of infection already brewing. Cutting now, you whisper. Matteo braces the tiny leg gently, whispering soothing nonsense, anything to keep the cub calm. The animal's breathing is shallow but fast, pupils blown wide with pain and fear. Tessa hovers behind you, tranquilizer gun raised but trembling now, not with fear, but the strain of waiting. If the lioness surges forward before the drug takes full effect, she'll have only one shot to stop her. You slide a small wire cutter into place, soaring slowly. Every movement is measured, careful not to cause more tearing. The cub flinches weakly, lets out a sound that's half hiss, half sob. The sound shreds something deep inside you, but you keep going. A gust of wind sweeps the plain, carrying scents, blood, dust, and the unmistakable musk of hyenas still lurking nearby. You glance up just long enough to see mottled shapes pacing farther out, eyes glinting in the growing light. They're waiting, watching. The snare finally gives with a faint metallic snap. Relief surges, but it's not over. The leg is a mess, the paw swollen and cold at the tips. Circulation is compromised. You grab gauze and saline from the kit, flushing the wound clean, ignoring how your own hands shake. Matteo hands you a small syringe of long-acting antibiotics. You sure? He asks softly. Yeah, we can't wait, you reply. One quick shot into the muscle. The cub twitches, but is too weak to resist. You smear antiseptic cream across the worst of the gash and wrap it gently, but firmly enough to support the damaged limb. Every second you work, you're aware of the lioness swaying closer, still awake, still watching. Almost there, Mama, you murmur, voice low and soothing. Not that she understands the words, but maybe she can feel the tone. The lioness's legs tremble as she shifts her weight. Her eyes lock on yours with terrifying clarity, as if she knows exactly who you are and what you're doing. There's no gratitude there, only raw instinct and mistrust. Tessa whispers sharply. She's fighting it. Hold, you whisper back. Another minute. You know this is the razor's edge. Finish the bandage and back away before she chooses violence over exhaustion. Matteo tugs gently at your sleeve. Hyenas, he says in a breath. You glance back, 3 of them now, bolder, creeping closer through the grass. The flare Matteo left has burned low, smoke thinning. The giggling calls ripple, taunting and hungry. You make a snap decision. Matteo, new flare, now. He moves quickly but smooth, pulling another from his pack. He strikes it. The sudden hiss and red light flare anew, sending the hyenas skittering back a few paces, though their eyes never leave you. The lioness flinches at the light, snarling low. Tessa steadies her aim again, her face pale but controlled. You finish the wrap, tucking the last edge beneath itself, a makeshift but stable bandage. The cub trembles, lets out a soft mewl that's almost a sigh. You know you can't carry it out. That would mean taking it from its mother, and the moment she regains full strength, she'll come for you. The only option is to get out alive, trust the medication and cleaning to buy time, and leave them together. You slowly start to back away, hands open, eyes never leaving the lioness. Matteo follows, still holding the flare high. Tessa walks backward last, tranquilizer steady, but finger off the trigger now. The lioness takes one unsteady step toward the cub, then another. She sways, lowers her great head to sniff the bandaged leg. A low, strange rumble vibrates through the air. Not quite a growl, not quite a purr. Something primal and unreadable. Your heart lifts and breaks at the same time. You've done what you can. It's up to nature now. But as you retreat, the hyenas move again, circling wide. They're patient. They know sedation won't last forever. Your flare will burn out in minutes, Tessa whispers. If they charge once we're gone. You know what she means. If the lioness is still groggy, she could lose everything, and the cub can't run. We can't stay, Matteo says grimly. If she wakes fast, we're the threat. You look back one last time. The lioness stands shaky but fierce over her baby, tail flicking, head low and teeth bared toward the scavengers. She's fighting the drug, fighting the odds. Then a sound splits the air, a roar, but not hers. Far across the plain, more shapes appear, 3, maybe 4 lions moving low and fast toward the scene. Males and females both, a small pride drawn by the commotion. Your breath catches. This could change everything, for better or worse. Out of the shimmering heat they emerge, tawny shapes gliding through the grass with silent, lethal grace. First a large lioness, her muscles fluid under sunlit fur. Then a young male with a half-grown mane, golden and untamed. Behind them, 2 more lionesses fan-wide, flanking like seasoned hunters. The small pride moves with intent, and every step sends a fresh jolt of adrenaline through your chest. Matteo mutters, "Oh no," under his breath. You don't answer. Words would be too small for the moment. You've read about this dynamic. When an unrelated pride comes across a vulnerable cub, the reaction can swing from acceptance to brutal rejection. Lions are territorial. Strange cubs can be killed to reduce competition for scarce food. Yet if this is the cub's true pride, or a tolerant coalition, it could mean safety. But you don't know. And the mother, half sedated, isn't strong enough to defend. She tries anyway. With an almost drunken stagger, the tranquilized lioness wheels to face the approaching pride, planting herself between them and her injured cub. Her tail thrashes weakly, her ears back, lips curled over gleaming teeth. The sound she produces, a ragged but defiant roar, is enough to raise goosebumps across your arms. The pride pauses. The lead lioness lifts her head, sniffing the air. The young male circles to the side, assessing. The 2 other females spread even wider, a slow pincer. You glance at Tessa, she's gone pale. Her tranquilizer rifle won't stop an entire pride. Matteo grips the flare tighter, but the red fire is guttering out, hissing its last angry smoke. You feel small, fragile, and very mortal in the face of this wild hierarchy. The cub whimpers, a high, thin sound. It tries to crawl toward its mother, but collapses, exhausted. Blood darkens the fresh bandage, where movement reopened tiny vessels. That smell, copper and infection, drifts on the breeze, and the pride scents it too. The young male's nostrils flare. You know that if they decide this cub doesn't belong, this could turn bloody in seconds. Your chest tightens with helpless anger. You saved this life from the snare, but you can't protect it from its own kind. The lead lioness steps forward, slow, measured. Her massive paws barely stir the grass. She gives a deep, rumbling chuff, not a roar, but a sound of acknowledgement. The sedated mother answers with a feeble growl, swaying on her feet. "Is that greeting?" Matteo whispers. "Could be," you murmur back, though you're not sure. Lions communicate subtly. A chuff can mean peace, or just curiosity. The young male circles closer, eyes locked on the cub. He lowers his head, sniffs the air, and lets out a soft, almost inquisitive grunt. You've seen young males kill cubs to assert dominance, but this one hesitates. Something about the scene, the scent, perhaps familiarity, seems to stay his aggression. The two flanking lionesses close in, but slowly. No rush, no attack, just careful approach. Their eyes flick to the mother, then to you and your team retreating backward with deliberate slowness. You're now 100 feet out, but every step feels like walking a tightrope above a drop. Tessa whispers, "If they charge her now, do we intervene?" You shake your head sharply. "No, nothing we can do against 5 lions." The truth tastes bitter. Humans may have trucks and rifles, but here, on foot with a single dart gun, you are nothing but soft-skinned intruders. Then something extraordinary happens. The lead lioness reaches the cub. She stops inches away, towering but strangely gentle. She lowers her massive head, sniffs along the small body, lingering at the wounded leg. The cub blinks up at her, trembling but silent. The lioness does not attack. Instead, she nudges the cub lightly with her nose, a motion almost maternal. The cub lets out a tiny plaintive mew and presses its head weakly into her jaw. Matteo exhales an audible, shuddering breath. She's accepting it. You swallow, hardly daring to hope. The young male hangs back, tail twitching, clearly curious, but not hostile. The other lionesses circle tighter, but their body language is relaxed now. Tails down, ears halfway forward. This doesn't look like an execution. The sedated mother sways but stays upright. She rumbles low, an almost pleading sound, as if asking the pride for help. The lead lioness seems to listen. She gives one short chuff and, impossibly, sits beside the injured cub, guarding it while the others form a loose perimeter. Your chest swells with awe and relief so sharp it almost hurts. You're witnessing something rare. Lions tolerating, maybe even protecting an injured cub that might not be theirs. But the miracle is fragile. The mother is too weak to keep balance. She drops to one shoulder, breathing hard. The sedation and exhaustion are taking their toll. If she collapses fully, she'll be vulnerable. And though the pride seems calm now, dynamics can change fast in the wild. Matteo murmurs, "She's going down." You know what that means. If the mother loses consciousness before the pride fully claims the cub, everything could unravel. A power vacuum among lions is dangerous. Behind you, the flare dies with a soft hiss. Darkness of smoke dissipates. The hyenas shriek from the edges again, louder, testing the new arrivals. Their cries are manic, mocking. They're not gone, just waiting for chaos to give them a chance. Your gut twists. The mother is slipping. The hyenas know it. The pride hasn't fully decided whether to defend. And you have nothing left to offer but hope. You whisper to Tessa and Matteo, "We need to stay close, just in case." "Close," Matteo hisses. "Not too close," you add quickly, though fear knots your stomach. But if the hyenas rush, maybe noise, lights, something to distract. It's a desperate plan, but desperation is all you have. Then the sky shifts. A distant rumble of thunder rolls across the horizon. Dark clouds mass, heavy and quick, swallowing the morning sun. A storm is coming, and with it a whole new danger. The air cools in an instant. Wind lashes through the grass. Lightning flashes far off. And suddenly the scent of rain and ozone fills the plain. The hyenas scream in frustration, scattering back but not far. The pride huddles uncertain. The cub curls against the lead lioness's leg, trembling. And just as the first fat drops of rain spatter the dust, the mother finally collapses, fully unconscious. Your breath stops, because now the balance could shift, and you have no idea if the pride will stand over her or leave her behind. The first raindrops strike like tiny drumbeats on the savannah, quickening into a sudden downpour. In seconds, the grass darkens and bends, rippling under sheets of silver water. The scent of wet earth and lightning fills the air. Thunder cracks, deep and rolling, and the sky goes from pale gold to a bruised grey-green. The pride reacts instantly. The lead lioness stands over the cub, shaking droplets from her fur. The young male jerks his head skyward, startled by the booming thunder, then huffs low and anxious. The other lionesses press in close, their bodies forming a loose shield. But the sedated mother, your patient, lies still. Her flanks rise and fall, but weakly. The tranquilizer and exhaustion have taken her under just as the weather turns hostile. Rain runs in small rivers down her fur, matting it against her ribs. Your stomach clenches. A storm like this isn't just wet, it's dangerous. Flash floods can sweep predators and prey alike. Mud sucks at pores, slowing escape. And worst of all, heavy rain muffles sound. Hyenas could attack under the cover of the storm without warning. You glance at Matteo and Tessa. Their faces mirror your fear. We can't leave her like this, you shout over the thunder. If she can't wake up, she'll drown in this mud. Matteo finishes grimly, eyes on the mother's prone form. Tessa looks to the pride, her grip white-knuckled on the tranquilizer rifle. And if we move closer, they might kill us. You look again. The lead lioness still hovers over the cub, but her amber eyes have shifted toward you and your team, suspicious but not overtly aggressive. Rain drips from her whiskers as she blinks slowly. She's focused on the hyenas and the storm more than you now. It's a gamble, but the kind rescuers sometimes must take. I'm going, you say, before you can lose your nerve. Matteo grabs your arm. You'll die if they charge. Maybe, you admit, heart hammering so hard it's almost painful. But if we don't help her wake, she won't survive anyway. For a breathless second, no one speaks. Rain patters louder, pooling in the shallow dips of earth. Then Matteo exhales sharply, digs into the med kit, and shoves a syringe into your hand, a reversal agent that can help lighten sedation, fast. And if she twitches, you run. You nod, every nerve alight. Slowly, palms visible, you step out from behind the sparse thorn cover. Rain slicks your hair flat to your skull. Water runs into your eyes. You keep your head low, posture non-threatening, voice soft as you murmur nonsense to the pride. The lead lioness stiffens but does not charge. She watches, ears back, tail twitching, but she does not step forward. Maybe she senses the truth, you're not here to harm. Or maybe the storm is too distracting for her to care. You reach the sedated mother. Her massive body is warm even through the soaking rain. Her eyes are slits, barely open. Her breathing shallow. You crouch low, syringe ready, and whisper, "Wake up, Mama. Your baby needs you." You inject the reversal drug carefully into the muscle of her hind leg. Then you back up 3 steps, hands still raised. For a long, terrifying moment, nothing happens. Only rain and thunder and the faint, eerie giggle of hyenas circling somewhere beyond sight. Then a twitch. Her ears flick. Her tail gives a weak lash. She's responding. You call back to Matteo and Tessa, who are barely visible through the curtain of rain. Relief flashes across their faces. The mother groans low, a rumbling growl building in her chest as she stirs. Her head lifts an inch, then another. Weak but awake. Her amber eyes roll blearily toward the cub, and then, suddenly, to you. You freeze. 1 heartbeat, 2. Then, astonishingly, she doesn't lunge. She simply breathes a shuddering wet sound, then drops her chin protectively back toward her baby. The lead lioness chuffs softly, as if acknowledging the revival. Then she turns her head toward the storm, and the faint movement of hyenas still testing the edges of this scene. She snarls once, low and powerful. The others answer with rumbling growls that vibrate through the rain. Your body floods with shaky relief. The pride has taken a side, and it's not against you. But the danger isn't gone. Suddenly, lightning splits the sky in a jagged white line. Thunder slams so hard it shakes the ground. Startled, the young male spins and bolts a few steps before stopping, ears flat. The cub squeaks and buries its face into its mother's damp belly. From the left, a shrill cackle pierces the rain. Hyenas. Closer now, bold in the noise and chaos. You spot at least 5 shapes slinking through the storm, their eyes pale and ghost-like in the gloom. Matteo curses. They're coming. You run back toward the team, waving frantically. "Truck now!" You all sprint for the jeep, boots sucking in the forming mud. Mateo dives into the driver's seat and cranks the ignition. The engine roars, blessed sound. Tessa stands in the back with a flashlight, swinging its bright beam toward the scavengers. Like an engine noise, sometimes enough to intimidate. You gun the headlights and blast the horn. The Savannah erupts with the harsh bleat, echoing across the plain. The hyenas freeze, confused. Some scatter, yipping. A few linger, unwilling to let go of a possible meal. Then the pride moves as one. The lead lioness roars, a sound so mighty it rattles your ribcage. The young male joins, deeper and louder, and the other females charge forward just enough to send the scavengers wheeling away into the sheets of rain. The hyenas retreat, melting back into darkness, their cries fading in frustration. For a beat everything stills, just rain, thunder, and the steady breathing of lions regrouping. You cut the horn and watch from a safe distance as the pride regathers, the mother now weakly upright, the cub tucked beneath her. She's alive. The pride is defending. The threat has passed, for now. Inside the jeep, silence breaks into shaky laughter, relief edged with disbelief. Mateo wipes water from his face and mutters, "I can't believe we just survived that." Tessa exhales long and slow, setting the tranquilizer rifle down. "I can't believe she let you touch her." You just stare through the rain-blurred windshield at the scene. The tiny cub bandaged and alive, its mother awake and licking its head despite exhaustion, the pride forming a protective ring. Nature, brutal and beautiful, allowed you to help. Yet even as hope warms your chest, you know the cub's journey isn't over. Infection can still kill, a storm can still separate them, and this mother is weak. But for tonight you've given them a chance. And as lightning fades and rain softens to a whisper, you know that chance may be everything. Morning comes like a slow exhale after the night's violence. The storm has passed, leaving the savannah washed clean and shining under a pale sun. Pools of rainwater gleam between tufts of grass. The air smells of wet soil and rebirth. But your team didn't sleep. You spent the night in the jeep at a cautious distance, headlights off, watching over the fragile scene. The pride stayed close, a silent, shifting guard. You saw the lead lioness pace a slow circle, scent marking the area to keep scavengers at bay. The mother, though still weak, kept her cub tucked against her belly, licking the wounded leg again and again. Each lap of her tongue seemed both loving and desperate, as if she were trying to clean away the human scent and the invisible danger of infection. By dawn, you knew you had a decision to make. The bandage you applied is only a stopgap. A wound like that, deep, dirty, already smelling faintly sour, can turn septic in hours. Antibiotics help, but not enough if dead tissue remains. The cub needs real veterinary care. Wound flushing, possibly sedation, sutures and stronger drugs. But to take it means separating it from its mother, and the pride may not allow that. You gather quietly with Mateo and Tessa behind the jeep. Your breath mists faintly in the cool post-storm air. "She won't survive without more care," Tessa says bluntly. She's calm, but you can see the strain behind her eyes. That leg's already compromised. Give it a week and it could go systemic. And if we try to take it? Mateo counters, voice tight. "We'll get ripped apart before we reach the truck." You chew on your lip, staring at the lions silhouetted against the damp grass. The mother is awake but sluggish, her eyes sharp whenever she senses movement. The pride seems calm but alert. They know you're there. "We have dart rifles," you say slowly. "If we sedate the cub only..." "She'll attack," Mateo cuts in. "Unless we distract her," Tessa suggests, but she doesn't sound convinced. The debate stretches thin and tense until you all fall silent. The cub tries to stand. Its leg buckles instantly and it collapses, letting out a soft cry that twists your heart. The mother noses it gently but can't do more. You make your decision. "We risk it," you say quietly. "We dart the cub, treat it here. Quick field surgery if we must. If the pride attacks, we retreat." Mateo stares like you've lost your mind. "Here in the open? We don't have a clinic out here. We have what we brought. And time's running out. It's reckless, but the only chance." You move slowly, deliberately. No sudden gestures. Tessa prepares a low-dose sedative for a small body. Matteo readies bandages, antiseptic, sutures, IV fluids, whatever you can improvise. You step into the open with the dart gun cradled low, trying to exude calm. The lead lioness sees you first. She rises halfway, tail twitching. You stop, lift your hand slightly. You speak softly, voice a low murmur lost in the breeze, but hopefully understood in intent. After a long moment, she sits again, still wary but not advancing. You aim at the cub, heart pounding so loud it drowns the world. One breath in, one out. Then a gentle peat as the dart hits. The cub squeaks, startled, then goes limp almost instantly, tiny, fragile, terrifyingly still. The mother jerks up with a roar so fierce your bones vibrate. She staggers forward 2 steps before faltering. Exhaustion and the lingering sedative slow her. The lead lioness intercepts, a stunning moment of wild hierarchy. She blocks the mother gently but firmly, emitting a low, reassuring rumble. The mother stops, panting, swaying but not advancing. Your lungs fill with shaky hope. You rush in. Matteo follows with the kit. Tessa stays behind with the rifle trained just in case. The cub's breathing is rapid but steady. You slice away the soaked bandage, revealing angry red flesh and deep grooves where the snare cut to bone. It's worse than you dared hope. Necrotic edges, pus starting to form. Infection has already started. You work fast. Celine flushes mud and bacteria in pale pink streams. Matteo trims dead tissue with a sterile scalpel. Hands steady, though his jaw is tight with focus. You administer a stronger antibiotic, then pain relief. Working under the open sky, surrounded by lions, feels unreal, like surgery in a cathedral of teeth and claws. The mother moans low, pacing unsteadily, but held back by the lead lioness's presence. It's astonishing. Wild animals enforcing calm, while humans touch their young. You don't know if it's tolerance, desperation, or some instinct older than history. You finish by suturing the clean edges closed, wrapping fresh gauze with careful pressure. Matteo slips a tiny IV needle beneath loose skin to deliver fluid and keep the cub hydrated. The whole time you murmur softly, not to the cub but to yourself.
Stay alive.
Stay alive. After what feels like forever but is only 20 minutes, you lean back, drenched in sweat. Done. Matteo exhales shakily. That was insane. Tessa lowers her rifle a fraction, but keeps eyes on the pride. You step away slowly, letting the cub rest. Sedation will fade soon. You and your team retreat, inch by inch, until you're back at the jeep. The lions move immediately. The mother staggers forward, collapsing beside her cub, licking its tiny face as if to wake it. The lead lioness watches you go, her gaze unreadable but not hostile. Minutes later, the cub stirs, first a twitch, then a tiny cry. The mother's rumble is low and tender, almost a purr. Relief slams through you so hard you sag against the jeep. You've done all you can. Now it's nature's turn. The pride curls around the pair, a living barricade of fur and muscle. You watch until the cub, groggy but alive, nestles against its mother's chest, and she closes her eyes in exhausted trust. And for the first time since dawn yesterday, you let yourself believe it might survive. 3 days pass before you return. Each dawn since the storm, you've wondered if the cub survived, if the antibiotics worked, if infection stayed at bay, if the pride protected instead of turned. The radio chatter from nearby patrols has been quiet. No signs of scavenger attacks, no fresh poacher traps reported. Still, as your jeep rattles down the dirt track that afternoon, your stomach knots with unease. The Savannah glows in the late light. Long shadows stretching across golden grass, still damp in places from the recent rains. The sky burns orange at the horizon, deepening to violet overhead. This is the hour lions love, cool enough to stir, warm enough to linger. You slow the vehicle as you near the place you last saw them. Silence stretches heavy, broken only by cicadas and the occasional chirp of birds waking from storm shelter. Then Matteo spots movement and points. There, under a lone umbrella thorn tree, the pride. You cut the engine. For a long moment you simply watch. The scene feels almost sacred. The lead lioness lounges at ease, her eyes half closed but alert. Two other females sprawl nearby, tails flicking lazily. The young male lies, stretched out like liquid gold, mane damp with evening dew. And there, at the center, the mother, no longer swaying, no longer weak. She's upright, regal even in her still thin state. Her coat glistens clean, storm-washed. And against her chest, playful and very much alive, the cub. Your throat tightens. It's unmistakable, the tiny lion you freed. Its leg is still bandaged, a dirty but intact wrap. Its weight-bearing now, cautious but functional. You can tell the infection hasn't won. The swelling is down, movement smoother. It's not whole yet, but it's healing. You watch as the cub bats clumsily at its mother's tail. She tolerates the play with a gentle swat. The lead lioness chuffs softly, a quiet, contented sound. The whole pride radiates calm. No aggression, no threat, just life. Tessa leans forward from the back seat, whispering, "We did it." Her voice cracks on the last word. Matteo doesn't speak. He just exhales a long breath you didn't know he'd been holding. You stay still, absorbing the sight. This isn't a zoo enclosure. This isn't a staged rescue. This is the raw wild. And yet you've made a difference here. Against snares and storms and predators, against odds that felt insurmountable, the cub is alive. Its mother is alive. And the pride has claimed them both. After a while, the mother lifts her head and looks straight at you. The distance is enough to keep you safe, but her gaze is sharp and unflinching. She doesn't move toward you. She doesn't growl. She simply watches, a quiet, regal stare that seems to say, "I remember." You bow your head slightly without thinking. Respect, gratitude, apology, all in one silent gesture. Then, as if deciding you're no longer important, she turns back to nuzzle her cub. The sun sinks lower, painting the sky in fire and rose. The air hums with peace, fragile, fleeting, but real. You know it's time to go. This world belongs to them. Yours is only to protect when it can't protect itself. Matteo starts the engine softly. The pride barely reacts. As the jeep rolls away, you glance back one last time. The cub is curled against its mother, eyes half closed in safety you helped give. For the first time since you heard that desperate cry break the dawn, your heart is light. The ride back is slow, quiet and drenched in a strange kind of awe. The storm's mud has dried to cracked earth under the wheels. The horizon is aflame with sunset. Your hands are steady now, though they weren't when you first cut that snare. Out on the plains, the lions fade into silhouettes, a small family bound tighter by danger and survival. The cub, alive and healing, will limp for a while but should regain strength. The mother, though thin, is alert and fiercely protective again. The pride, once uncertain, has embraced them both. The danger has passed. Peace has returned. A cool breeze ripples the tall grass, whispering through the savannah like a lullaby. Birds call softly in the distance. Somewhere far off, hyenas yip half-heartedly. Too late, too far. You feel the weight of the night lift. The wild has righted itself, not perfectly, but enough. Life here is always on the edge, fragile, fierce, fleeting. But sometimes with courage and care, survival wins. The last thing you see as the road curves away is a small golden head lifting from its mother's side. Eyes bright, alive, and unafraid. The danger has passed, peace has returned, and the savannah rests once more.